What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday version of Move the Sticks. DJ Buck and our buddy Baldy with us today. First of all, Baldy, where are you today?
I am on the third floor at NFL Films. In my
You're in the cave.
I'm in the bubble. I got out of Kansas City at 5:30 this morning, and for some reason I don't feel tired. I might crash here pretty soon. I'm doing okay right now.
Okay, where you at, Buck?
Well, I'm in NFL Network, NFL Media headquarters, because I, like Baldy, I left Cincinnati this morning at 6:15, took a nonstop, got in LAX and went right to studio so I could get the pod.
Dang, man. You boys, and I'm in Vegas. I'm in the MGM. That's why this little background here looks like
the MGM.
Looks like I'm in the boardroom here. By the way, we got the red curtains. We got the red couch. It's like I feel like I'm in Suge Knight's apartment over here, man. What's going on? But we're going to jump into some of these games. And a friendly reminder, this is our second version of this, which we got great feedback from the first version with Baldy last Monday, and people really enjoyed it. And if you're listening to it, we're going to dig into some of these games. We're not going to get to all the games, but that's going to leave for tomorrow. We will clean up every game we don't talk about today. We'll get you on that tomorrow. But the one I think we got to start with is the Super Bowl rematch, Baldy. KC, Philly. I'll let you go where you want to go there.
Well, I was there. I was there announcing the game. And, honestly, the Kansas City just can't get an explosive play. They got one to Tyquan Thornton. And he was open at bunch. And in the first 2 weeks, you saw him in Brazil. And they just, Mahomes is just off. But they have no explosion to their offense. And then the run game is the same thing. Like, if it's not Mahomes extending plays and running, again, leading rusher, 2 weeks in a row right now. And if it's not him just pull the ball down and taking off, like, they don't get anything out of the run game right now. And then they had a chance. They had a great chance in the fourth quarter. They're down the 6-yard line, and they throw one right at the goal line to Travis Kelce. And it's a hot potato, And there's Andrew Makuba, and he took it 40 yards, and they ended up going down and scoring, kind of opened the game up. But honestly, the Eagles, like, I call it the Ambien offense. Like, it just puts you to sleep. Like, it's a big sleeping pill. But they don't turn the ball. Like, their formula is real. If the game is close or if they have a lead, if it's 3rd and 13, they're not even thinking about going for it. They're handing the ball off and they're punting. That's what they did on 2 or 3 occasions yesterday. But right now, Jalen Hurts just is not going to put the ball in harm's way. And they do just enough on offense 2 weeks in a row to win the game, but they don't turn it over. They don't give you any field position. Their special teams are great. And every guy they pick up, Zadarius Smith, like, he was on a couch 2 weeks ago. He comes in, he has 4 negative plays in 20 snaps. Like, the defensive line looked better with Jalen in there, and they're getting great play from Jordan Davis right now, which is really encouraging for any Eagle fan, especially after losing Milton Williams. So I thought the Eagles played just a very clean, sound game. It's not exciting. There's not a whole lot of stats to talk about. Saquon isn't rushing for 100 yards. But, man, when you don't turn the ball over in this league and you make your field goals like they are, you can win close games. And that's what they did.
It's funny that you said that, Baldy, because I think everyone has seen the viral clip of Chris Jones talking to Jalen Hurts during the knee. And Chris Jones is talking about the numbers and Jalen's talking about winning. And I think that is the thing that they talk about. Like, let's just win the game. And to me, I've seen this team kind of have a makeover from where they went to being a very emotional, up and down team, including the coach, to now they kind of figured out, hey, man, we're at our best when we focus on execution over all the emotion. And championship teams kind of figure that part out, and they win games when they don't have their A game. And I think they're just doing just enough to win.
Bucky, like, it's still, we're in early September. Like, the Eagles at this time last year were a mess offensively, and they were turning it over. Now, they figured it out, and they went to the method like where they're playing right now. But, there's still a lot of room for improvement in this team. Like, this is far from a finished product. So I think it's going to be a gradual thing where they get some more explosive plays than they're getting. But for right now, they're content with just trying to keep the running game clean, keep the line of scrimmage clean. And they're doing a good job of doing that.
Yeah, I want to hit what you guys are talking about, and I'll work back to front here. Eagles, first of all, Baldy, we were talking this morning too. Like Zarius Smith, as you mentioned, Jordan Davis, 2 weeks in a row now has played really, really well. But then Uche has made a couple plays. You see him in each of the first 2 weeks splash in there. Nolan Smith, I'll sing from the mountaintops. He's one of my favorite players to watch because he just plays with so much violence and explosiveness. He made a big fourth down play, but to me, one of the secret sauces of this Eagles team is not just the frontline talent. We think about all the stars, but it's the depth, man. You mentioned Za'Darius Smith. What do you say, 20 snaps, 21 snaps? They have that alpha unit and that Bravo unit up front, and they roll those guys all through. They keep them fresh, and that's like their little secret recipe for how well they play is that they go, 8 deep up there and roll those guys all through there. Jomo made some plays in that game as well. So that front is really, really good. I was thinking of baseball offensively with them, like pitching and defense will win you a lot of baseball games. You can win a lot of 2-1 games, and that's what they do. It's clean. It's just a clean baseball. Hey, ground ball to shortstop. Make the play. But that's what they do.
The thing that's interesting, DJ, is we could go around the league right here, and we will, about how greedy teams are about points. Going for it on fourth downs. We've seen it backfire. The Giants yesterday, it backfired. They're so greedy. The Eagles know defensively they're probably not going to give up a lot of big plays the way they're playing right now. But they don't get greedy. Like, okay, punting is still a good option for this team. And playing field position. Like some of the things that we all grew up kind of thinking.
Any drive that ends in a kick. How many times did your coaches tell you, hey, any drive that ends in a kick is a good drive for us? Hey, Buck, so the other thing I want to hit on, you guys, Baldy was talking about the run game. So without Mahomes is leading this team in rushing significantly. Without him in 2 games, 30 carries, 96 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. I went back through and watched the video on their run game, and I sorted it to just watch it, which is awesome. You can do it now, just versus 2 high looks. So if you're going to, they're so obsessed with trying to get these explosive pass plays, which haven't been coming. So they've had 11 runs this year through 2 games with 2 high safeties, and they've got 43 yards on those 11 carries. And one of those was like an 11-yard run by Pacheco. Then there's a bunch of just like 3-yard runs when you're getting these favorable run looks. And part of it is like, look, the interior offensive line is not playing great. I don't know what's going on with Trey Smith. He doesn't look like he's playing as well as we're historically accustomed to seeing him play. But then also, they got to get more dynamic and explosive in the backfield. And I know Pacheco ran a fast 40 and everything, but I don't think he has great vision. They've only given Bashard Smith, I think he's got 1 carry for 2 yards through 2 games, the rookie at SMU. He's got real juice. And with those looks they're seeing, to me, they got to try something to get more dynamic in the run game. Give that dude a chance.
Well, look, I'll say this, and the league is cyclical. And as everyone is going back to 2 high looks, you have to have a dynamic runner in the backfield. And you have to be willing to use the run game to set up the explosive plays. I am surprised that it's taken the Chiefs this long to figure it out. DJ, I remember doing games on Thursday night where we talked about the Buffalo Bills parking the safeties in the parking lot saying, you're not going to have the explosive play. The only way you get these teams out of those looks,
you got to run them out of that.
You got to run them out of it. And look, man, how much longer can they continue to use this formula knowing that it's not going to work against these teams that are disciplined with a 2 high coverage? They need a better running back. We can talk about you can get a running back anywhere. Yes, you can, but you need to have a dynamic running back that you have to account for, or you'll never get the single high safety looks that lead to the big plays.
Hey, Baldy, Jawan Taylor is not good either at the right tackle. Look, Josh Simmons is going to be good, but he is not good enough. How many penalties can you
put up with, DJ? He was second in the league in penalties a year ago. He had 3 yesterday. Like, he's constantly putting him behind the sticks. Matt Nagy talked about it during the week. Like, you saw it down in Brazil. Like, it was the same thing. And it starts with, if he doesn't get a great start, then he's always trying to grab and catch up. And that's what's been happening.
Yeah, so there's some things the Chiefs have got to figure out here. They've got the Giants, which that front's not going to be easy to block coming up. And then they play the Ravens after that. So a challenging start there for the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, probably the biggest news of the day, of the weekend, was Burrow getting hurt in the game that you're at there, Buck, Jacksonville, Cincinnati. What did you see in that game? I'll give you the floor. You can go wherever you want to
go. Let's take the Cincinnati angle. It's one thing to talk about a team being dynamic offensively. It's another thing to see it firsthand and to know going in what the game plan is to slow them down and to watch them execute the counter tactics. First, the combination of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, man, they keep you up at night because both of those guys can get down. And when you decide, okay, we're going to play soft zone, and then you got Jamar Chase catching the ball underneath, and then you have to tackle, in essence, a running back in space, that is tough because they're running bubble screens and stuff, and he is just walking through tackles, running down the sideline. Then when you get courageous and go one-on-one, T. Higgins can beat you up the top like he did with Tyson Campbell. Jamar Chase is a problem. He can beat you over the top. He can beat you running across the field. So it's an issue. You knock out Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has the thing where they can't protect up front now. Their offensive line remains a problem. Jake Browning comes in a couple plays before the half, and then he comes in the second half, and he is dink and dunk, and I'm going to throw it to my guys, and I'm just going to be a point guard, and I'm going to make the plays. But, like, if you slip up, I can hit you over the top. And so we always talk about the value of having not only a credible backup quarterback, but a quality backup that can not only get you out of a game, but can orchestrate a stretch of games. Jake Browning does that because he's so familiar with the personnel and the scheme that after he kind of shook off the rust, DJ, I didn't really see this offense take a dip off. They have to change going forward against more talented teams on defense, but they still can be kind of treading water for a little bit.
Give Zach Taylor credit here, Bucky, because we see the carousel of backup quarterbacks just rotating around the league. I mean, so we'll just throw this guy over here. He's the back. I mean, they've maintained that he's not going anywhere. You know, he's going to be under contract. He's staying here. When something does happen, like it has happened over the last few years, like he has stepped up and they've won a lot of games with him.
Yeah, speaking of those wideouts, I went back and looked at it. Jamar Chase was targeted 17 times in this game, had 14 for $165. And we can debate because I'm
just doing the math on that, DJ. That's 4 targets a quarter.
Yeah, no, they're feed him the rock. And I love Justin Jefferson, and then we'll get to Malik Neighbors, and we have a lot of really good young receivers and talented receivers in this league. But this dude, I told Baldy Buck when I was talking to him this morning, like when you watch him, it looks like an IED when guys get their hands on him, like DBs. And it's just like, they have no idea how strong this dude is. So you want to get up and press him. He just muscles right through it. But then a lot of times when you get strong, fast, powerful guys that comes with stiffness, then you watch him come back down the stem and he can get in and out and create separation when he's working back to the quarterback. I mean, it was curls, quick outs. They go 3-by-1 slant touchdown. That was stealing. You watch him just power through press. He's a bully.
And he catches everything with his hand.
Everything. And then you want to elevate, you want to play above the rim? No problem. He can go do that as well. I'm like, I don't know. I was trying to think of another receiver who's the best. I don't know if I can remember anybody like him that had that kind of whole package that he has.
The thing that I would say, what he reminds me of, but with better hands, he reminds me of the dilemma that T.O. would put you in terms of his size and strength and trying to tackle him, but he's a much better ball catcher because he catches everything. And he is a problem because they're throwing, you play off coverage, they're like, okay, we'll throw these bubble screens out here and we're going to make you tackle him in a 0-yard pass becomes an 11, 12-yard game because he breaks the first tackle almost all the time. And then if you're playing zone, he's so good at, they're running that China concept where they're running smash corner on one side and then they run a smash and a basic behind it. And he's just sitting in that soft spot, catching it and right up the field. And I'm just like, it is a problem.
If you're a defensive back, if you're Tyson Campbell yesterday, Jerry Jones, whoever, if you're a defensive back on him, whether you're in a soft zone or whatever, like it's almost impossible to play with swag. It's almost impossible because you're going to miss tackles and he's going to take the ball away from you in the air.
I mean,
I was looking it up. I was like, who was 22? It's Jerry and Jones. Yeah. I was watching that poor guy. He tried to get his hands on him and it looked like the Matrix when he just like went flying back. I mean, it's not fair.
He's running through contact all the time. So then Jerry Jones gets hurt. So now you got a dilemma because you're like, man, am I going to think about putting Travis Hunter on this dude? If I don't put Travis Hunter, I got Jordan Lewis on him. And so I don't have a size matchup to deal with him, and Tyson Campbell can go out there. But then on the other side, you got T. Higgins, who's 6'4". You don't have enough big corners to be able to match up with those guys. And that's the problem that the Cincinnati Bengals offense presents. Are you big enough to deal with those guys on the perimeter?
Bucky, I'm curious. 2 weeks now, I haven't really seen a big play from Travis Hunter yet. Like, is there?
How about Brian Thomas Jr. for crying out loud? Speaking
Well,
as someone who may or may not have drafted him very high in a fantasy league with his high school friends.
DJ, he's having a tough time catching the ball.
What the heck is going on, man?
But look, it's been a problem. Is one of the things sometimes that you worry about. People talk about the sophomore slump. The sophomore slump sometimes isn't what opponents do to you. It's the internal pressure of trying to best what you did your rookie season. And so you have a bad play, and then you can't get out of your head. He's kind of been in a fog the entire training camp, preseason, and now. And he dropped some passes early. And then there's an alligator arm situation that led to a pick for Trevor. And then at the end of the game, man, we talk about players over plays. Fourth down, they go to their best player, Brian Thomas Jr. He drops it. It's a killer because first down, game over. And it comes on the heels of De'Ami Brown dropping a pass 3 or 4 plays before that would have ended the game. Look, man, it comes down to player. We can talk about coaching and that, but this league is about players. And when you put your players in a position to make plays, they got to deliver.
Something I think that you can get hopeful about if you're a Jags fan, though, because their answers are in the building. They got a lot of ways to answer these questions with the guys that they've got there. It doesn't feel like they've got to go outside and find receivers or that's all there. They just got to execute a little bit better there. Let's get to the next game here. Probably the most entertaining game of the day, Dallas and the Giants. Baldy, you got the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I look, the Giants had so many chances to win this game. It's almost impossible. You know, you throw the touchdown pass to Malik Neighbors, 48 yards to go up, with 33 seconds to go. And you give up the field goal by Brandon Aubrey. I mean, they made just enough plays. But I thought, you watch Tyler Booker. Now, Tyler Booker might not be the most talented lineman, but that guy knows how to play the game. And he's made everybody around him better. They lost Cooper Beebe during the game. So the backup came in. They played very good up front. Now, Bernsey made a play, and Abdul Carter got a hit, and, Kayvon made a play. But the plays were few and far between. Dak had a great game. And Jake Ferguson was really popped in that game. We knew CD would go. But, you look at Javonte Williams now. I thought that guy was washed up in Denver. Mm-hmm. But he had 97 yards. They did a good job of going at that Giant front. And whatever's going on in New York, you can talk about their front, but Dexter Lawrence has been invisible the first 2 weeks. And I saw Tyler Smith, just own him. I saw Tyler Booker get into him and drive him. He has not been the force that we've seen the last 2 years up front. So that's that. But honestly, I didn't think Russell Wilson could play like this anymore. He threw for 450 yards. And it was every kind of throw. Every kind of throw. I mean, it's over the top to Darius Slayton. It's over the top to Malik Neighbors. The first and last touchdown to Neighbors were absolute perfect throws in the end zone. And Neighbors is just a beast. I mean, his ability just to literally square up and be the first one off his feet, take it off the rim. His timing for the jump balls are uncanny. It doesn't matter if it's Trevon Diggs or Kaiir Elam is I don't know how long they could go with him out there, but I thought up front, I thought they did a really good job of giving Russell really good vision down the field. And when he got the space and the vision where he didn't have to bail from the pocket, he made one great throw after another. And honestly, the Giants had 3 different chances to win that game, and they just couldn't put it away.
Yeah, no, I think what Russell Wilson shows you is a prideful player will bounce back from poor performances. He heard all the noise. Look, the city of New York was at the metropolitan area. The tri-state area was at him because they want Jackson Dart on the field. And for him to respond, that says a lot about the competitor that he is. Mm-hmm. However, how often are we going to get those performances from him? And that's the thing that they're going to ask themselves. That's great and all of that, but it's another L in the column for the Giants. And as you're Brian Daboll trying to figure out not only saving your job and what's the best course of action, at some point the rubber's going to meet the road where you're going to be forced to play Jackson Dart. But I'm going to say this last thing. My guy that was losing this stuff on the sideline, 4 penalties in a row, James Hudson trying to control, that's a bigger thing. You got to squash all that now as the team is that's a bigger thing to me than whatever. They got to take care of that.
That won't happen again, Bucky, because Marcus Bowe just beat him out. Marcus Bowe literally almost pitched a no-hitter until the very end. He gave up a little bit of a quarterback pressure. He was good in preseason, Like he might, I don't know when Andrew Thomas is coming back, but they can win with Marcus Bowe at left tackle. Like that guy, he reminds me a little bit. It's early now. It's just a game, but he reminds me a little bit of Deion Dawkins. Like he's very athletic. He's very good on his feet. I don't know how much left tackle he played, DJ, at Purdue. Like I don't know if he was primarily a right tackle or if he went both. I don't remember, but they threw everybody at him. Sam Williams, Marshawn Nealon. He put Dante Fowler on his back on a pass protection at the end on the touchdown to Malik Neighbors to take the lead. He was very impressive up front.
So he was initially in my top 50, and he was one of the fallers through the spring. So he was just over 6'4", 303 pounds. His arms were short. He had 32-inch arms, and then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and he had a rough week down there. But when I initially watched the tape, I was like, lean, athletic right tackle, just needs to add a little more core strength. When guys kind of got into him a little bit on some of the college stuff, but easy mover, can bend. He's outstanding in space, especially pulls, second level screens, ultra athletic. But one of those guys, and I don't think he interviewed great with teams. So his stock kind of fell through the process a little bit. But one of those guys, there's guys like this every year. And you just go back, okay, what was the tape? Well, the tape was really, really good. And then I go back to Booker, who you referenced. I want to pull up my Booker notes. Tyler Booker was playing great for the Cowboys. 6'0", 4'5", 321 with 34.5-inch arms.
He's square. He's massive. Absolutely square.
He's massive. So ideal
and
size.
Very smart, DJ. Extremely smart.
That's what I got, Baldy. Ideal size, strength, and instincts. Plays with a firm base. He can absorb power. He takes excellent angles, will gather and wall off linebackers. And they described him, and this was the kicker for me. This guy was described as the Will Anderson of their offense in terms of leadership. They said J.C. Latham should have given him a chunk of his signing bonus for what he did for him in terms of helping him along his time there at Alabama. So and look, Micah Parsons, and that's a whole other story. Micah Parsons is playing his butt off. He has been unbelievable and dominant, and Jerry Jones is getting a lot of grief. But I do think if you, and I'm not saying anything about Micah Parsons as the person, but you can see they've made an effort to bring in a certain type of kid. Yeah. And Tyler Booker, I think, is a good example of that. And they feel like in the long term that they're kind of building a culture there of some guys who are a little more like-minded in that way.
Okay. Look, it works. And after the initial hubbub, it settled in because then, DJ, they did what we talked about on the podcast. When you don't pay Micah, what you then have to do is you got to make sure that money sprinkles around the locker room so they see that you're still committed to paying the right guys.
I'd say it's more than sprinkling. I think that's showering. That money is showering throughout the locker room.
It's flying out of that. It's flying out of the Jerry right now.
Yeah, which, by the way, on that note, doesn't that tell you that it wasn't a issue of the money? It wasn't. Jerry's fine. He had the money. He could have given him the money. This was not that.
It's a bigger thing. And eventually the truth always kind of comes out when it comes to those things. They wanted to reward a different type player from a football character standpoint than Micah. And Micah can be happy in Green Bay. But for the Cowboys, as Brian Schottenheimer and Jerry and everyone's resetting the culture, you understand where they're going. And I'll say this. You can look up the Cowboys, despite how they played against the Giants defensively or whatever, there's a reasonable way where we could talk about the Cowboys being 2-0 because the Eagles game was right there for them.
One other footnote here on this Tyler Booker. I met him at the offense line masterminds 2 years ago when he was going into his last year at Alabama. You know, the NIL money. He flew. He paid for everybody in the offensive line to come to offense line masterminds. They took a table in the front row. They were the first ones into the building before we started. Tyler introduced himself to me and asked me if I could just put up the Alabama-Georgia game and they wanted my input to how they played in that game. Like, it's just all about ball. Like, that kid is just like every offensive line needs like an alpha dog, like to just take charge. I think he's already that guy. Tyler Smith has been that guy, but I think they got another one right there. And so the guard position is in good shape in Dallas.
But remember, you've heard him talk about taking defenders' souls. Like, he talked about that. And when you have that, look, I'm scarred from the Great Wall of Dallas when they had all those great guys, 2-A, whatever. And I'm with the Packers, and we just can't beat them. When their offensive line is dominant, the Cowboys are always really good. And I think they're kind of getting back to that premise.
Yeah, they're playing good ball. And a couple other guys to highlight. Jake Ferguson, Baldy mentioned him for a second. To me, one of the great traits of a good tight end is just spatial awareness and feel. Him and Dak see the game the same. When he's really good at giving him his numbers. So he gives him a nice clean read as a quarterback to find out where he's going to be. Had a big catch late in this ball game. He can go up and catch the ball outside of his frame. He's a good player, underrated player. And then George Pickens got loose a little bit in this game too. We knew what they had in CeeDee Lamb, but George Pickens, they're figuring out how to use him, which is a lot of slants, a lot of crossers, keep him on the move, Baldy.
Well, here's a stat to keep tracking on George Pickens. So he drew 2 defensive pass interference penalties yesterday, and he drew 1 against the Eagles. Like, that's teams are trying to figure out, like, when the ball's in the air, like how you play the ball in the air determines some of these games. But, like, people are grabbing at Pickens with the ball in the air, and he's gotten 3 big plays down the field because of those defensive pass interference penalties.
Yeah, no, it's a Cowboy team. Buck mentioned it could easily be 2-0, off to a really good start here, and look like a legit contender in the NFC. All right, guys, let's keep the train rolling here. Seattle, Pittsburgh, Buck. This is you can go on either side you want. I like this kind of format that we have here because I can open it up to you where you want to go.
You know, DJ, here's the thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, for all of the things that were positive about the edge that they were looking for, the winning pedigree and those things, what you saw, the Seattle Seahawks coming into the house and beating them. You saw some of the deficiencies that still showed up with this team. Offensively, like I like Aaron Rodgers, look, 4-time MVP, like you want to have those things, but still this team has to play a certain way for them to win. And I think as they're figuring out that formula, whether it's a run-heavy recipe, get DK involved, and find another weapon somewhere on offense in the passing game to help them, I still think it's a narrow margin of error for them when it comes to how they have to play. Toughness and all that is great, but if they can't control the game defensively, offensively, I don't know if they're ever going to be the high-octane offense to be able to get over 28 points a game to compete with some of the heavyweights in the league.
I watched this game, and Seattle's defensive front, some guys just do actually get better with age. Leonard Williams just keeps getting better. Like, he is a dominant player in this business right now. He's in his 11th year, I think. But he sets the table. But Byron Murphy showed up. Boye Mafe showed up. Jaron Reed always shows up. Derek Hall showed up. Like, their front, they didn't blitz the entire day. They didn't need to. Their front 4 controlled the line of scrimmage. And I don't know right now, guys, how many hits Aaron Rodgers can take the way he's taken the first 2 weeks. They have not protected him well. He does not move well in the pocket. And then, like guys that just can't escape the pocket, they get crushed in there. And so all those guys rotated through. I thought they did a great job of getting after the quarterback with just 4. And so, they really limited any explosive plays from the Steelers in that game. That was impressive. And then two rookies to really kind of highlight one was Horton. He caught the opening touchdown of the game. And then this Elijah Arroyo, who could never stay healthy at Miami. But we all knew he could run. And he showed up at the Senior Bowl, as you guys know. Like, he had a couple plays. Like, the rookies, all right, DK's on the other side now, but the 2 rookies kind of stepped up. We know what Jackson Smith and Jigba can be, and it is so far this season. He's been a monster, but those 2 rookies I thought showed up.
Yeah, no, it's going to end up being a really good draft class with Gray Zabel for them. John Schneider, he solved a lot of their issues. And, defensive tackle is a position that over the years that I've paying attention to it, it's one of those ones where I think everybody expects this to be a microwave situation. These guys come right into the league, and then all of a sudden you see these dominant players. That is the position you have to be patient. And I've seen it with a bunch of guys. You see the light come on year 2, year 3, sometimes even beyond that, and you'll see defensive tackles take off.
Zach Allen was like that, DJ.
We were just talking about the Lawrence and with the Giants. That took him a minute before it kind of came along. So I pulled back up my Byron Murphy because I'm like, God, no, I was a big fan of Byron Murphy's game. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, he's just a second-year player here. But I thought that game was kind of a coming-out party.
Had a sack and a half yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
He was just over 6 foot, 6'04", 297, ran 4.87. My comp for him was Ed Oliver, like kind of reminded me of Ed Oliver when he was coming out. He can roll his hips. He's super twitchy. You'll see him jump gaps. Just the change of direction stuff's elite. He's got incredible balance. He does that thing where he'll go to a knee, to one knee to kind of maintain his leverage, and can play underneath the pads. So I was a really big fan of his. And then seeing this, this is what he can be. And Leonard Williams, for some reason, he gets bigger. He looks like he's just like an avatar that they keep widening their fingers and just making him broader and bigger.
Swelling.
He's unbelievable, and he is a really, really good player.
That was a 14-14 game into the third quarter, and there was a 10-point swing. We all saw the kickoff. It's just, special teams, man. Like, you give up a touchdown like that on a kickoff after you go up 17-14. Next thing you know, you come on the field, you're down 10. Like, that's just a boneheaded play. Like, they did – you have to – if your guy is going to be back there, he's got to know all the rules about this kickoff thing, and it was clear he didn't understand it.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things. We have young players who never really had to play special teams in college. Even though it's a difference, it's the little nuances that are we really on the details with so many new guys playing new roles, and it's a very important role in the kicking game. So we got to make sure we talk to them, we teach them, we lecture them, we show them video highlights because they don't know. And it's clear that it's a muff, but in college and in high school, when that thing goes in the end zone, they blow the whistle right away. And so you got to know in the pros, hey, this thing is different. We got to down it. All of it. It's just he was a star player at Iowa. He didn't have to do those things. And so we got to make sure he's up to speed. So as much as I want to blame the kid, I also got to make sure that he was taught and coached that before.
No, I mean, it starts with Danny Smith, the special teams coach right there. He's got, you can put that kid back there. He better know every single thing about this, these kick rules right now.
So the offense for the Seattle Seahawks, I'm gonna dub it the Abe Lincoln offense. Guys, you remember you got Abe Lincoln, the hat, right? So everything to the perimeter, very short, but then everything down the middle, we can get that nice little top hat there. Okay. So it's just like the Abe Lincoln offense. So we're gonna use JSN and Cooper Kupp, and we can get them out. Let's get them fanned out. We'll get them the ball out in the perimeter, let them use their physicality and run after catch, and then we're gonna stretch the seams with these guys. We're gonna let them work in the middle of the field. They hit the deep post against Jalen Ramsey with JSN late in this ball game. But I think Sam's really comfortable. He's comfortable working in the middle of the field. I was curious because, you're looking at, are these duplicitous? I don't know how you want to use that word. But when you have JSN and Cooper Kupp, you're like, kind of the similar style, slot, middle field. Yeah. How are they going to work those guys? It's working, man. It worked in this game. And they're both so smart. And Sam's a smart guy. I think this offense is going to be fun to watch as they play more and more together to see what
they got the running game going a little bit,
Yeah, K9 and I've been a Charbonnet guy over K9. K9 ran the ball really, really well in this game. I got to give him hours on that.
DJ,
it's a fun team. The Seattle Seahawks are kind of a fun team to watch, man.
They look well coached. Even in the loss to San Francisco. I mean, I thought, if Tariq Woolen makes a play in the end zone, which he's right there to make, who knows what happens in that game.
No, but I think, DJ, your theory when you talk about JSN and Cooper Kupp, I think there is the interchangeability between those slot receivers. I also think there's a lot of hidden yardage inside the numbers and really in between the hashes. I think it's really easy to create those high-low concepts, those jerk route concepts where you jerk the man away. And I think if you have play callers and quarterbacks who are fearless when it comes to throwing it in traffic, there's a lot of yardage to be made. And I also think with the play action game, you can create those big windows with the ball fakes because it affects those second level defenders inside much more than it does the guys on the perimeter.
Yeah, no, it's a good team. Baldy mentioned all that speed and athleticism in their front seven defensively. Now offensively, I think you're going to see that identity, kind of new coordinator, new quarterback, some new receivers. Like it's going to, in new offensive lineman, it's going to take a little while, but this is already what we're getting week 2. I'm excited to see what this looks like. We get a month from now. No question. All right. Maybe one of the bigger surprises to the season is the Indianapolis Colts being 2-0, Baldy. They get a big one over the Denver Broncos.
Look, Chicago's a mess. That's another story. But I don't know how anybody could watch Tyler Ward at Penn State and not go, that guy is going to transfer to the NFL. I got to give Shane Steichen credit. They had 4 plays in this game, 3 in the first half of 40-plus pass plays, 40-plus yard pass plays. And the first one was to Tyler Ward. And, he's in a YY formation, him and Mo Alley Cox. They move him to the backfield. So it's like a power pistol formation. and they go play action to Jonathan Taylor, and they leak Warren right through the middle. The linebackers are looking at John, and he gets right past, and Daniel Jones just floats it. And next thing you know, like, this guy's just going to barrel down the field. He's going to just run through. He goes 41 yards and sets up their first score. Like, the way they're using Tyler Warren. And then the bigger story, honestly, is Daniel Jones. Because I just pulled off 7 throws, and 3 of them were Surtain just throwing a drape over the receivers, whether it was Pierce or Warren. And the throw beats Patrick Surtain on 1 third down after another. And so this is 2 weeks in a row where you go, okay, Shane Steichen is doing a good job. Daniel Jones is playing quarterback. And Benito is hitting him right in the chest, and Zach Allen is all over him, and he's got a dirty pocket. All the things that we would see in New York, and you go, oh, God, this is a disaster. It's just not happening right now. It's like whatever they've done to him, he's playing the game without thinking. Like, he's making these throws, and the ball's going where he wants it to go. And that seemed to always be a question for 6 years in New York.
I'm going to say this. I think he's playing with better personnel around him, and the play caller has found a way to puff him full of confidence and is tailoring the game to Daniel Jones' strengths. DJ and I have talked about, like, what the Colts have gone all in on is they've been drafting the freaks. If you look at the guys, their combine results, and you add their athleticism score, they're all high-end performers. Well, now you just need a point guard who can get the ball to them and get out the way. So we're seeing some of that. Jonathan Taylor still commands a bunch of attention in the backfield. They run it to him. They're able to create and dictate the terms. So, hey, if you're going to play soft, cool, we'll hand it off to this guy over and over and over again. You change your coverage, now we get it to the perimeter. And then with Daniel Jones, I felt like the Colts, one, they made a wise decision to go and get Daniel Jones when they were struggling with Anthony Richardson. They were always a better decision maker away from being a much more effective team. And so that is really working. And the complementary ball that they're playing, because the underrated signing is Lou Anarumo coming over on this defense. The defense is more dynamic. They do more things. And so it's working together. And now a team that we had kind of cast aside, they're a legitimate threat to win the division and maybe make noise as they continue to put this together with Daniel Jones playing like what his high school coach nicknamed him, Swaggy. Yeah, swag. Swaggy is over here making plays. His confidence is real, and now they're beginning to believe each and every week he plays well. The team believes in him, and that is a force multiplier as they go down the stretch.
If you're looking for a reclamation project at quarterback, maybe go grab somebody that's played in the New York market. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. Now we see Daniel Jones doing his thing. That New York market. I mean, really, the only quarterback who had sustained success in New York, Jets, Giants, is Eli Manning over the last 30 years, where you've seen somebody at that position have sustained success. They chew up and spit out quarterbacks there. So it's looking like a good move there. The other thing is don't get it twisted either. Jonathan Taylor was awesome in this game. Mm-hmm. And just to me, when he was coming out, one of the things that I won't say that concerned me or that I maybe question, and maybe why I didn't have him in as a top 10 player, which he's probably proven to be in that draft class, top 10, top 15 type player, because I didn't know how loose and elusive he was. And I don't know what he's done, if he's done yoga or what he's done since he's been in the NFL, but he's still got that straight line speed, big time burst. But he's making guys miss in space, and you watch.
Well, he had that 63-yard run in the fourth quarter, DJ, and Patrick Surtain.
Yeah,
he can't catch him.
No, he doesn't touch him and can't catch him.
He's laboring, and Jonathan Taylor's just they couldn't get him off his feet.
No, he that was impressive. The other thing is Chris Ballard, and people always. Who do we take? Do we take for need? You draft for need, or you draft, best available. This is a great example of when it just the draft gods shine on you, and it happens to be a position you need, and you get, I thought was the 6th best player in the draft with the 14th pick. So you get tremendous value. It all lined up with Tyler Warren, and that one to me, I'm going back through my notes on him. Tyler Warren, massive. Use him in some wildcat stuff. He's got size. He's got catch radius. He's got tenacity. He's physical with the ball in his hands after the catch. Guys just bounce off of him, and he's strong at the point of attack in the run game. This is a complete tight end, man.
He's one of those guys, though. You meet him, and he doesn't say 2 words, but he transforms when he's on a football field. He lets all of his play do all of his talking. It's fun to watch. But I think he gives this team a real toughness, that every team is looking for. And everybody's – and sometimes it's with players. Sometimes it's, a system or a culture that gets overused. But he just gives that team a toughness right now. His blocking after the catch, just the way that he takes – just the way he takes the ball out of the air and what he does with it.
No, it's fun to watch him and this Colts team off to a 2-0 start. Bucky mentioned it, man. They got a good shot. It's early, but they've got a really good shot inside that division to stay in the race deep into the season. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. Let's hit one more, guys. The Sunday night game, Baldy, Atlanta. I don't know what happened. I've been wondering if Atlanta would ever have a pass rush in my lifetime, and it looks like they finally found one.
Well, they went all defense in the first 4 picks, and it started with Jalen Walker. He got his first sack. James Pierce, he was a factor. These 2 defensive backs, Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman, I think everybody loved them coming out of Notre Dame and Oklahoma, but they both get interceptions. They seal the game at the end. They made life difficult. Billy Bowman is just maybe he's Bob Sanders. I don't know. He's probably about that size, but he's just a force. And that defense, they played pretty well. They didn't close the game out against Tampa. Ibuka beat them at the end. But the 2 weeks in a row now, the pass rush, and it's not just the guys that they just drafted, but they brought in Leonard Floyd. They had Dorlan right there. They drafted last year, Brandon Dorlus, I guess. Is it Dorlus?
Yeah, Dorlus, yeah.
Yeah, he's a factor. The kid from Clemson that I can't pronounce his last name of, Okorourko or whatever.
Yeah. Ororo.
Yeah. They have JJ looked really good in that fourth quarter last week, and he was they literally never let him get comfortable the whole night.
I'm gonna say this. Anytime you can look at the stat sheet and see 39 rushing attempts, you're dictating the terms offensively. The fact that Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, they combined for 38 carries. You talk about over 200 rushing yards. And the way the yin and yang between these guys, and when they needed to close it out, running the football, being physical, allowing Michael Penix to be, I would say, the complementary piece as opposed to the main dish, I dig it. And as long as their defense can keep the game where they're able to kind of stay within their box, this running game is a factor. And finally seeing Bijan do his thing, I love it.
Well, I just real quick, I did a breakdown on Bijan this morning. I was proud of myself, with no sleep or anything. I said the second run of the day, he went for 25 and he went for 17 the first 2 plays of the game. So they go 42 yards, but it was smoke through a keyhole. I don't know how he got through. The Vikings had 4 guys right there, and somehow he came through it. And we all saw the replay of him not going down, just spinning over the top of his man. All the talent that both of you saw coming out of Texas, it is on full display right now. I remember DJ. I think it was the Senior Bowl. I was in the studio with LT, and I remember I asking LaDainian what he thought Bijan was going to run, and I think he said 4.41. I think he got it.
He ran 4.46. He ran 4.46.
I think LT actually hit it right on, but he said, "This is LT now," and we know how humble he is, but he did say that he thought Bijan was the closest guy coming out that reminded him of himself.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. That was a draft where that comparison was made numerous times. Low pad level, stop-start quicks. He's got a rhythm and feel to him. He can uncoil through tackles, which is you just see him just explode through tackles. They ran him in the pass game on verts from the backfield. Just a real loose, fluid, smooth, explosive runner. The only knock on him was just anchor and pass protection. That was it. There was no other flaws in his game, to the point where I thought he was, as a running back, as clean as anybody we'd seen since Saquon. And now I think you can kind of see those guys. I don't know. Those aren't the best 2 running backs in the NFL right now. If you had an open draft for running backs, I think those would probably be the first 2 picks with those 2 guys and what they're doing. One question, Buck. So we've seen this year, I was just going through the list of guys of safeties, and hold on, let me pull it back up here. But we got 2 safeties started in that game. Billy Bowman, who Baldy mentioned, like Bob Sanders, he's just under 5'10", 192 pounds, ran 4.42. Is a really, really good player, and he's playing well. Makuba has the huge pick in the Eagles game. Craig Woodson has started at a Cal, was one of my favorites coming through this draft process. Malachi Starks just jumped right into the mix with the Baltimore Ravens and has become one of their favorites of all their guys in that organization. They all love him. Why are we seeing safeties, which used to be with all the responsibilities and communication and all that stuff, why are we seeing these guys make such an immediate impact?
So here's the funny thing, going way back when I was in Buffalo, and then when I was scouting in Seattle, we had an old coach, Dick Roach. And Dick Roach said the perfect safety back then would be a Sean Springs type athlete playing in the middle of the field. He said the game, and this is early 2000s, he said the game is evolving where you really have one safety and 3 corners or 4 corners on the field. And what we're seeing are guys playing in the middle of the field with cornerback-like athleticism and instincts, but with the high IQ that you need at safety. And as the game has advanced and trickled down to the lower levels where they're throwing it more, you're now getting guys who are very experienced in the passing game, but have the toughness to make tackles in the running game. And as teams have shied away from running, it allows you to put a better athlete on the field, but you still value the guy that can come in the hole and tackle. You still have to be able to do that, but we're putting a better product there. DJ, I just remember sitting in scouting meetings, and before they'd be like, oh, we just move him to safety. Oh, we move, because it was like a throwaway. Now it is a very valuable position. I think people are prioritizing it that by putting better athletes there, and you're seeing better production.
Well, I think the trend continues. It will be a healthy trend because I felt like teams had to overpay in free agency to go get their safeties, and that's what we saw. Yeah. You know, Jesse Bates, whatever. Like teams.
Kenny,
I mean, you just look at the carousel of guys that were going around from team to team, and they were getting them and they couldn't find them in college, so they were getting them in free agency.
Yeah, off the ball linebackers and safeties, that used to be the move because it's like, well, if we need a guy to come in and help us right now, it's just going to be hard to get a player right off the college field up and running in the nerve center of our defense, right in the middle of our defense, as an inside linebacker or a safety. And I think what we're seeing is a lot of these kids are coming in more prepared now. Maybe it is the 7-on-7. Maybe it's just you've played so many reps in 7-on-7 as a safety. You've seen every route combination. You know how to, sort and sift through everything.
Last thing on that game, Michael Penix didn't throw for a lot of yards.
Yeah.
But that guy can throw a football. It just darts, Bucky. Like that guy, he sets his feet, he makes quick decisions and smart decisions, and he's very accurate with the ball. And Bijan and Algier, they carried it for sure. But he made a lot of key throws in that game just to sustain offense. And this is 2 weeks in a row. Like he's an impressive young quarterback in this league.
I think one of the themes as we wrap up the episode today, and again, all the games we didn't hit, we'll get to tomorrow. But one of my last thoughts, and Buck, and you go around the horn, we can wrap this thing up. I feel like if you're looking for a thread of our conversations today, like we talked about Seattle, how athletic and fast their front was. We've talked it with Atlanta and their front and how athletic and explosive and fast they are. Philadelphia with their group of guys. Man, if you want to have a great defense, you better have an explosive, fast team. I will not tell you many slow defenses that are feared in this league.
Look, it's always speed, and it starts inside and outside. Like that linebacker level, the safety level, the faster your team is being able to run down. You eliminate the explosive plays, but you also begin to produce takeaways because that speed leads to multiple hits on the ball carrier or the pass receiver. The ball pops up. We're seeing a lot of that happen over the course of the year.
So, Baldy, I thought with all the shell coverage we see in the league that, he's talking about the size of the front being more important because you're going to have to stop the run with fewer bodies. But I feel like it's a combination of some of that size, but then it's the athleticism on the edges. It's the linebackers being able to cut angles, shoot gaps. It feels like to me they're combating with fewer numbers, that speed has become an element of that, not just the size of these dudes.
I couldn't agree more. And you saw it. And then the other thing is just if teams aren't putting a great deal of resources into their defensive front, they're not building the team the right way because nobody has just 4. You've got to have 6, 7, 8 right now because it's a long season. We're only in September. And, you got to keep these guys fresh to get through the season, get to December for the big games.
No doubt. Well, this is fun. I love Mondays. I know you guys enjoy listening to this, and we're going to keep this rolling throughout the year. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll break down the rest of these games. We'll recap the rookie draft. We'll have a rookie draft for this upcoming week. But Baldy, as always, we appreciate your time, man, and we'll see you on your next Monday. Appreciate it, buddy.
Have a good call tonight, DJ.
Thanks, buddy.
You're
That's going to do it for us. Yeah, I'm in Vegas in the Suge Knight Hotel Suite. I've got Raiders Chargers tonight. We'll break that down tomorrow as well. We'll see you next time on With the Sticks.